On July 7th of the year 2000, a little girl was born. On April 16th of the year 2001, a little boy was born. Although born almost 900 miles apart in different countries with vast cultural differences, they both had something in common. Their parents loved God and were committed to following Scripture as their guide for every aspect of their lives. In this way, it is not surprising to see how their lives began to have some similarities. Both grew up surrounded by siblings and learned to love God's design for family. Their constant exposure to Scripture led them to an understanding of the truths of sin, the fall of mankind, God's plan of redemption, salvation through Jesus Christ, and God's purpose for the church in the world today. Intertwined with the teaching of these important doctrinal truths, character was also being forged through the day-to-day activities that filled their days. Teenage is a time of adjustments as the child prepares to go into adulthood and take all the knowledge and experience he has gained and put it into practice. For Urias and Rebekah, this meant continuing their walk with God and seeking to live in godliness. The journey wasn't without its doubts and struggles. As any teenager, they were pushed to validate their beliefs, sort through the confusing messages that the world continually shouts at everyone, and make wise decisions in choosing friends and spending their time productively. They didn't get it right every time. There were failed friendships, rebellious attitudes, disillusions, and discouragement. Above all, they learned that the Christian walk is not a 100-yard sprint, but a lifelong marathon where it's more important to keep moving forward than to keep a particular pace. The year 2018 carried on its usual course until April, when both Urias and Rebekah were invited by mutual friends to attend the East Texas Shindig. First impressions were favorable, and they were able to enjoy a few conversations that cemented their opinion of one another and would prove fruitful later on. Still, it would be another 5 years before their friendship progressed any further. We often see in Scripture how God leads His chosen prophet or messenger to an out-of-the-way place to commune with Him before giving him a new message, mission, or goal. Perhaps that was the purpose of this time period in their lives. There were lessons to learn, challenges to overcome, virtues to put into practice, and patience to exercise. It was a time to fellowship with God and wait on Him. Finally, on August 2023, they began their courtship under the supervision of their parents. Family and friends prayed earnestly, and convinced that God had been directing their path since the beginning, they became engaged in December of the same year. Marriage is not only an institution established by God, but also is surrounded by additional honor in being chosen as the earthly representation of the relationship between Christ and His church. The journey that for Urias and Rebekah began the moment they were saved and entered into God's family continues, only now they will have each other to depend upon and to learn from, always seeking after the prize that has been promised to every believer.